Hi there, welcome to Two Birds, I'm Fiona, and today I will walk you through how to do tree pose or Vksasana, which is one of the standing asymmetrical balancing postures in yoga. And there's three fundamental or essential elements to most of the asanas or postures in yoga, and particularly in our standing balancing poses. And these are, firstly, your alignment. Physically finding your equilibrium with gravity, and secondly, having enough strength in your body to be able to create, hold and adjust once you're in the posture, and also your attention, so your undivided attention, your focus, your gaze, your mental effort to be able to create and refresh moment to moment when you're in the posture. And many of the alignment cues and muscular actions that we find in mountain pose or Tadasana in yoga are also relevant for tree pose. So we're going to start there with 2 feet on the floor and find our equilibrium, and then move on from there. Let's start standing. So in mountain pose or Tadasana, we find our equilibrium by balancing our centre of gravity over the centre of our support. So our centre of gravity for women is below the navel and in toward the centre of the pelvis, and for men it's slightly higher. It's around the centre of the chest, actually at the sternum. So if you can think about where your centre of gravity is here, and balance it over your centre of support. And that is the midpoint when your big toes are touching between your feet. So just finding your balance there. Just imagining that plumb line that runs through the centre of your body to the centre of your support. And then from here we lift and spread our toes. And as we do that, really spread our toes, we activate the muscles in our lower legs, the primary muscles used for balancing in standing poses. And then from here we really broaden through the soles of our feet. So the wider you can make your feet, you've got more support, a wider base of support. So we plug down through the big toe mounds, little toe mounds of our feet, outer and inner edges of our heels. So just feel for that. Feel the surface beneath your feet. Feel the centre point of your support, centre of gravity balanced over them. And then just making our way up the legs, we engage our quadricep muscles, the muscles, larger thigh muscles above our knees, by lifting our kneecaps and hugging the muscles in around our bones. So we don't want to be rigid there, or certainly don't want to lock our knees back. It's just a light engagement so you feel strong and active in the legs. And then from here we hug our abdominal muscles in around our centre of gravity, wherever that is for you. So we're lifting up through the pelvis for women and hugging the muscles in between your hip points. So you kind of squeeze in toward the centre line of your body. For guys, you're activating the muscles in your upper abdominals just below the floating ribs and squeezing in. So once you're nice and steady there, your tailbone naturally lengthens down and your pelvis finds neutral. From there we lengthen through the sides of our waist, and then we draw our upper arm bones back. So we're not puffing through the chest, we've just got that equal alignment through our body. And then finally we set a gaze point for ourselves, a single point for our concentration. And if you're practicing your balance and still working on your balance, then ideally you'd place your gaze diagonally forward to the floor. So as soon as you start to raise your gaze, you lift your centre of gravity and it becomes more challenging. So on the other end of the spectrum, once your eye gaze is up, or perhaps even your eyes are closed, then that makes it a lot more challenging. So start at the ground level, as it were, and then as you progress, start to lift your gaze. So all those same alignment cues are relevant in tree pose as well, Vksasana. So from here we're going to balance on our right foot. So now we lift and spread our toes on our right foot, and the centre of our support now becomes, as we get a little lighter on that left foot, centre of our support now is the midpoint in between in the middle of our right foot. So just feel that. Plug down through all four corners of your foot. Engage lightly through your quadricep muscles. Hug in through your abdominal muscles. And that will naturally bring your right hip in, lengthen through the sides of your waist, chest nice and open, arm bones back. So you can practice here, just getting a little lighter on that left toe. You can practice taking the left foot over the front of the right foot and then just playing around with finding that plumb line where the centre of gravity is over the centre of your support. And then from here, if you're comfortable here, you can place your left foot to the inner calf. And then again, you've got to adjust and refresh, find your balance. Right hip in, abdominals engaged around your centre of gravity, all four corners of the foot down. Gaze steady. If you're feeling comfortable there, you can take your left leg a little higher. So as I said before, once you start to raise your centre of gravity, including the leg and the arms, it becomes more challenging. So you can use a wall space if you like. Another important thing to remember when you do start putting the sole of your foot on the inner seam of your right leg is A, to do it below the knee or above the knee, because the knee is an open joint and we don't want to place our foot there. And B, to sandwich your standing leg into the sole of your foot. So there's this hugging action into the midpoint, all through the body, particularly the foot to the standing leg. So you're kind of resisting. So we'll take that left foot up a little higher, place it to your inner upper thigh. And this really depends on your hip mobility. I don't have particularly open hips, but you want to make sure that your hip points feel level here. Abdominal muscles engaged, so you'll feel your torso lift. Gaze is steady. And you might like to shift your hands to your heart, your thumbs to your sternum. And then just find your balance. You've got to keep refreshing. My foot's doing a little dance here. It's not helpful. And then from here, you can take your arms a little higher. It does help to take your arms out wider. Arms could go overhead, and then if you're comfortable there, you can start to raise your gaze. If you start to get wobbly, you lower your arms, you might play with lowering the leg. And just try and stay really patient in your balance. So if you fall out, just reset. And oftentimes your balance can be affected day to day. Sometimes unexplainable. And other times, if you're coming down with a cold, and that can affect your inner ear, that can actually affect your balance. If you've got previous injuries, really anywhere on the leg, lower leg, even from the hips or your back's out, maybe you broke your ankle when you were younger, all of that is going to have an impact on your success when practicing your balance. And it is a practice, so you just keep trying, it will get better. And I really feel like it is a practice for longevity. Balancing can be so worthwhile, particularly as we age, and our eyesight can tend to go, and our vision provides and contributes so much to our equilibrium that when our eyesight goes, that often our balance does. And then the consequences of that is that often we can fall and injure ourselves. So practicing balance has many benefits. It increases our coordination and our agility, and will also help all of us, if we practice, to be able to stand up and balance on one leg as we get ourselves dressed, put our pants on unassisted when we are in our 90s, and there's no downside to that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. Let me know, and thanks for joining. Namaste.